Welcome back, everyone. Let's continue with our poem, The Wild Swans at Cool, which is a lyric poem written by the very famous poet William Butler Yeats. So, in the last two videos, we have already understood the theme, what the poet wants to say through the poem, how he is emoting his feelings about life being transient, about human life being transient, and how nature is everlasting. He tries to draw a contrast between nature and the human life. Okay, so let's start with the explanation of the poem. Okay, let's read the first stanza. The trees are in their autumn beauty, the woodland paths are dry. Under the October twilight, the water mirrors a still sky. Upon the brimming water, among the stones, are 59 swans. In the first stanza, as you can see, there is no sign of poet. That means the poet is not here. Only only the description of the scene has been provided to the readers. So the poet is missing from the first stanza. The trees are in their autumn beauty. So in the first stanza, the poet here is telling us about the surroundings. He's helping us to imagine where he's standing right now. About which place is he talking about? What scene is he talking about? So he talks about all the things which are around him. He talks about the season. He talks about the trees. He talks about the path. He talks about how the sky is looking, how the water is looking, and what the birds are doing, and how many birds are there. He talks about these things. So he says the trees are looking very much beautiful in their autumn tone, which is they're looking very beautiful in their orange tone, which is of autumn season. And the woodland paths are dry. That means the road which leads to the park, it is dry because they are no longer lush and green due to the autumn season. Under the October twilight, the water mirrors a still sky. And then in the next line, the poet is saying that after sunset, the water of the lake is as still as the sky. He's comparing here. So the poet has used a metaphor which is comparing the calm water of the lake with that of the clear surface of the mirror. That is why this line here is a metaphor. Okay, under the twilight, the water mirrors a still sky. That means after the sunset, okay, and before the dawn, before the morning, the water is looking as if it is acting like a mirror. Okay, it is reflecting the clear sky. So it is acting like a mirror. It is reflecting the sky. Then upon the brimming water among the stones are 59 swans. And then the poet says that upon the brimming water, brimming means the overflowing water, among the water which is flowing, there are stones at the side of the lake. There are 59 swans. That means there are 59 swans. Then he brings swans into the picture. He says that there are trees which are looking very much beautiful in their autumn tone, and he notices that the path is dry. That means there are the bushes, the trees which are here are not green and luscious now, and the water is behaving like a mirror to the clear sky as it is reflecting the clear sky. And then he notices that in the water where there are stones also at the side of the lake, there are 59 swans. So this is what the poet is trying to say, that he sees the swans who take a flight in a big flurry hurry. Coming to the second stanza. The 19th autumn has come upon me since I first made my count. I saw, before I had well finished, all suddenly mountains scatter wheeling in great broken rings upon their clamorous wings. Now here poet comes into the scene. He says this is the 19th autumn since I had first come here. That means after 19 years he has come to the same point. He has come to the same spot. And he says, since I first made my count. So since the first time he had seen these swans, it has been 19 years. I saw before I had well finished. And then he says that I saw something. Before he had well finished. What was he doing? He was counting the swans. So he says before I had well finished, that means before I had finished my counting, all suddenly mount and scatter, wheeling in great broken rings upon the clamorous wings. Here he's trying to say that all suddenly mount. All means the birds, the swans here, they rise in the air and they scatter into directions to make wheel, to make circular patterns. So they start rising into the air, taking a huge flight, and the wings are making noise. They're making a loud din as they flutter into the air together while making a ring. So the wings make a lot of noise upon their clamorous wings. Clamorous means loud and noisy. Okay, so here the poet has used imagery. Imagery is when the poet is trying to create a visual image. It creates visual and sound images of the swans suddenly taking off together noisily. I hope you're able to imagine. So the birds here, as they take off together in the group, they start making a circle. The wings are making a loud din. The wings are making a lot of noise. Okay, so here in the second stanza, the poet is trying to say that it has been 19 years since he had come here for the first time, and as he had started counting the swans this time, he sees that all the swans, they rise up into the air and they start fluttering into the air, making a circular shape. And when they do this, the wings, they break the calmness, they break the stillness of the lake. The silence which was there, the silence with which the lake was surrounded, it is broken by the loud din of the fluttering of the wings. I have looked upon those brilliant creatures, and now my heart is sore. All has changed since I, hearing at twilight, the first time on this shore, the bell beat of their wings above my head, trod with a lighter tread. He says that I have looked upon those brilliant creatures and now my heart is sore. He says, now when I have come here and I have looked upon these beautiful and brilliant creatures, I am a little upset. He says all has changed since I had come here for the first time. When I had heard them for the first time at twilight, when I had heard them, the wings above my head, that means when they had flown above my head for the first time, the wings had made the sound like that of a bell. This is a metaphor. Here the poet is comparing the sound made by the wings with that of the sound of a bell. Okay, as you can see, the sound of the swan's wings beating is compared to the sound of a bell. So when the swans are flying into the air, they flutter their wings. So the sound which is made by the wings has been compared to the sound of a bell. That means the wings made a loud sound. And in the present also, as we can see, the poet, when he was talking in the present, the wings still made a loud noise. So he is remembering that, he's recalling that, he's being nostalgic. He's able to remember the first time he had come here and says that everything has changed since the first time I had come here on this shore, and when I had heard those birds who are there in front of me right now. For the first time when I had heard them, then also their wings were making a loud noise. But then I had come here in my youthful years. He says I had walked here with lighter steps. I was much more young than I am right now. I was agile. Now I'm not. Agile means flexible. So he was very much flexible and agile, and he was passionate and youthful when he had come here for the first time. But now when he had come here, he had come with heavy steps. That means he was walking now with a lot of effort because he had grown old. So he realizes here that he has grown old. A lot of things have changed, except the birds. Birds haven't changed at all. Birds are same. Next stanza, unwearied still. He says the passage of time has not affected these birds at all. They are still full of passion and hope. This is what the poet is trying to say in the further paragraph. He says they paddle in the cold, companionable streams or climb the air. Their hearts have not grown old. Passion or conquest wander where they will, attend upon them still. He says that these birds, they paddle together, they walk through the water, they wade into the water together, and that is how the warmth between them protects them from the cold water. They do not feel that coldness because they are walking together, they are wading through the water together in a group, and they feel much more warmth. And they climb into the air. That means they fly into the air together. So they are still full of passion and they are still together. Each one of them is still together. Their hearts have not grown old. That means they are living with passion and conquest and hope. Passion or conquest to wander where they will attend upon them still. And then he says that no matter wherever they are still living with hope. They have not given up hope. Wander means to roam around, to walk around. So here he says that attend upon means wait for them. So they are still waiting. They're still living their life with hope, unlike the poet. So he's trying to draw a comparison that unlike him, the birds here, this flock of swans, is still full of passion. He is still full of life. They have not given up hope in life. And that is how he is trying to draw a contrast between the bird and himself. But now they drift on the still water, mysterious, beautiful. Among what rushes will they build? By what lake's edge or pool delight men's eyes when I awake someday to find they have flown away? Okay, so in the sixth stanza, the poet says, but now they drift on the still water, mysterious, beautiful. Now he points out that there is a shift in the energy of the birds. He says they are drifting on the still water. Here still means calm water. Okay, mysterious, beautiful. So mysterious and beautiful, it refers to birds, that the birds are mysterious and beautiful, and also to the water. Now they drift on the still water, mysterious and beautiful. The next four lines are a question. He says, among what rushes will they build? Here he has used the word rushes, which means water reeds. So he says, by what lakeside will they build their nest? Will they build their house? And will they continue to delight other people's eyes when I awake someday? Awake here, it means two things. One, awake is that he gets out of bed, and when he comes out, he realizes that the birds are not here. And second, he realizes that not everything is permanent. He's asking a question at the end. He says, delight men's eyes when I awake someday to find they have flown away. Will I wake up someday to find that these birds are no more here? He has been counting these birds since 19 years, and still he feels that they will fly away one day. He will not be able to see them one day. So he has realized that in life nothing is permanent. He thinks that one day he will wake up and birds will be gone. He's sure of one thing, that people who these birds will be impressing in future will not be himself. Because he is sure of the fact that the birds are going to abandon the lake one day. That means they are going to leave the lake one day. So here he's talking about the realization that nothing is eternal in life. Nothing is permanent. This change is sure to come. He has realized this. So this is about the poet William Butler, where he's saying that since 19 years I have been looking at these words and counting them, but now I have realized that since I have grown old, I am sure that these birds will leave me. As my youth has left me, these birds which have been a part since my youth with me, these birds are also going to leave me one day. So he leaves the readers with this question, with this open question, which is known as rhetorical question, where he's not expecting any answer, because he says he is sure of it. When he says, when I awake someday, he's not using if, which shows that he is sure that he will wake up one day and he will realize that these birds have gone.